Today, we are going to be talking about specifically finding your purpose. That was one of the most popular requested topics for tonight. So we had to just we had to pick that one. We saw so many people needing that help in their lives. And it was surprising, but not surprising at the same time getting that request.
Right. I mean, especially with today. I mean, especially amongst millennials. I'm unfortunately considered a millennial. I don't identify as millennial, but to a very large degree, a lot of people are millennials, one of the largest groups we have in our age group besides the baby boomers. But I'm not really surprised. When I saw the results of that poll, it wasn't really surprising for me because it's so many of us struggle. I know at one point I even struggled with my life's purpose. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. Nobody ever equipped me for that. Not in school, not my mom, not my dad, not my pastor, not my friends. Nobody equipped me for what it is that my purpose was meant to be, what I'm here for.
Exactly. So I am super excited to be talking more about finding your purpose. And we will go in, we have 7 topics actually that we're going to be covering today about specifically finding your purpose. And we'll go one by one and we will provide the problem or misconception and the solution right afterwards. That way you kind of just don't get it all jumbled, okay? Mm-hmm. So if you have any questions, specifically if you are on the live and you're watching, if you have any other questions as we go along, feel free to just send us that question or any comments or whatever, and we will directly address that and elaborate if needed.
Definitely.
All right. So, finding your purpose.
Yes.
Let's go. So, for me, when I was trying to find my purpose, and I will say that I was struggling with this specifically not too long ago. And you can even ask Nick, I was crying, I was breaking down, I was waking up in fits in the middle of the night trying to figure out what the heck I was on this earth for. I was journaling, I was meditating, I was reading spirituality books, I was doing everything I could possibly think of to figure out what the heck my purpose was. And all Nick could tell me was, you just need to pray and give it to God, which it is a big part of it, but I was so frustrated and trying to control the outcome that I was not actually allowing myself the opportunity to really step back. Now, the reason why, especially for me, the reason why I was like that is because for a majority of my life, and for a lot of millennials, and that's one of the reasons why they're so lost and confused, right? We are drilled with the belief and we are raised that there's only one way to live our life. There's only one way to make a living, and that is to graduate high school, go to college, get a 9-to-5 job, work there for the next 40, 50 years of your life, and then retire. And so there's a lot of pressure for people, especially when you think about it, we're 17, 18 years old when we graduate high school, and we haven't actually lived our lives yet. We have no idea what the heck is out there in the world, and so we're still trying to understand ourselves and understand everything around us. That to ask us to figure out what that one thing is, that one thing that we're passionate about is asking a lot of us.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I do agree with you 100%. It is a lot to be dumping on our children and then even ourselves when we experience it as well. But in some people's instances, it is possible. Some people are able to already know at that point, boom, this is what I'm doing with my life. And that's fantastic, but that's not the majority. That's what we've been finding. The majority of people do struggle in the same regard that we have been struggling with trying to figure out our purpose. And so you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head, my love. It really is. It's a lot to be asking of these 17, 18, 19-year-olds. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then on top of that, too, when you think about it as well, we spend a majority of our lives in school, right, as kids. Mm. But we're not, and I think you brought up this topic as we were discussing it earlier, we are not properly set up.
No.
To go out and try to figure out what we were here for. Does that make sense?
Yep. I mean, think of it, you guys. How many of you guys, okay, so with where you are currently right now in your life, in your adult life, your adulthood, how many of you can look back to a specific memory in class where they were teaching you how to balance your checkbook, budget, do your taxes, build a business, run a business, outsource, research you kind of learned in college, but you're getting my point. there's so many things that we don't know coming into adulthood. And I'm not blaming school on this. I don't believe it's the school's place necessary to be teaching all of these basic ideas. I do believe it falls on the parents, and to a large degree, we have been failing our children. But I can't remember specifically for myself. I don't remember a time where I ever learned those types of things. And so, yeah, we come into this adulthood experience way behind the starting line. Like if we go back just, I think it's, when was the last time they did home ec and stuff like that?
That was for me an elective. It was an elective,
right?
like you had to choose, and not a lot of people in high school are going to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to want to take home ec."
Yeah,
it's not like the greatest thing to do.
Yeah, and so I mean,
never.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's how can we expect our children, ourselves, really, to even come into adulthood or wake up in adulthood and all of a sudden be like, "Oh yeah, I got it!" All of a sudden. No, you have to learn these new things now. We have to step into these new skills that we had no idea how to step into in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, too, there are a lot of people who, even when they feel deep down like, okay, this whole college thing isn't really meant for me. I don't do really well in school. This is not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But they feel this pressure that they still have to because they've been raised, like I said, with the belief that that's the only way, right? So whenever they try to deviate from that, they are met with shame.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because they are told that this is the only way to success. This is the only way that they can be accepted and loved and feel successful. But it's not.
Yeah. It's a pipe dream.
Mm-hmm.
Quite literally. And I never realized it. So I actually came to learn this term of pipe dream back when I was in network marketing and direct sales. And whatever you say about network marketing, direct sales is your own opinion. I know you felt a certain way when I said it, but I loved it personally. Loved every aspect of it. If I had the ability to right now, I'd probably jump right back into it. But that being said, the pipe dream of like what you laid out earlier: go to school, graduate, go to a college, graduate after 4 years, maybe 5, 6, jump into a career for the next 40, 50 years of your life. Hopefully retire at the age of 60. Hopefully collect Social Security, even assuming that's going to be around, which projections right now is that it's not going to be well enough funded to be around. And then hopefully live off of that $60,000 a year and have the life that you've always wanted. That's a pipe dream if I ever heard one. It's like there's so many ifs. Too many variables. That's a massive pipe dream. So
yeah. So when it comes to that belief, if that is something that you resonate with feeling like you have to, like it's a should path, like you should be doing this, but you feel deep down like it's something that's not meant for you, just know that 1, you are not alone.
Yep.
But 2, give yourself the grace and compassion as you start trying to embark on that journey to find your purpose, because it is a big thing to shift from a place where you held on to this belief so dearly and have been taught this, to finally going to another place in your life where you are trying to open yourself and expand to other opportunities. So for those of you who are barely embarking on that journey, give yourself that grace and compassion.
Yes.
Don't try to force it. It's not like college where you have to pick a major, where you have to figure out your job right then and there. No. It's about allowing the opportunities to come to you. It's about expanding yourself and just giving yourself that grace.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was one of the most common things, something I've experienced. One of the second most common problems, too, when it comes to finding your purpose is when people don't believe that they are worthy enough to follow their own dreams. Whether that's based on what they've been told, whether that's based on what they've seen and experienced, or whether that's just a fear-based believing that they're going to get hurt again, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you wanted to expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, what it really boils down to is our blueprint, all right? What we've seen in our family, our friends, our own lives, all of these things have conditioned us to expect for ourselves a certain lifestyle, whether or not it's something we want or not. And this is something I've spoken about quite a bit with some friends and family, is that everything that you expect, you're going to get, because your expectation creates the reality. So if you're going to be running that blueprint in your mind over and over and over again, that, oh, I came from poverty, well, that's all I'm going to end up seeing, that's your expectation. That's going to create your reality. And you're going to have that over and over and over and over and over again until that paradigm gets shifted and we rewrite your blueprint. All right? If you really do want to have a different quality of life, you have to shift your thinking. That's what all the great thinkers tell us. That's what all the great successful people tell us. If you want to have what they've got, if you want to have more than what they have, if you want to have any iota of success, you have to change your thinking around it. Mm-hmm. And that really boils down to your blueprint. What it is that you were around as a child, what it is that people poured into you. I mean, everything, whether they said it to you on purpose or not, or you just witnessed it, doesn't matter. It formulated how you see yourself. It formulated how you see success, how you see business, how you see work, how you see anything, value in something. It shapes everything. Mm-hmm. And so we have to go from where you are now, from this false image of yourself, and then we need to break it down, and then we need to recreate what it is that we want. Because God created us all, each and every single one of us, in His image, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we're told in the Christian Bible. That's what we're told. He created us in His image. All right? That means we are all mini creators. Now, we're not the same type of creator as God is. God created something from nothing. We are creators from things that are around us. So therefore, we can create. Look at this. We created a bowl
of spaghetti.
And delicious spaghetti with tapatio. Brought to you by tapatio, your spice for the night. Okay? But the point is, you can create your future. And I believe that God gave us some very distinct higher faculties in our minds to be able to create that future. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was well said. Yeah. The world is ever changing, and it's all based on how you think.
Yeah. So that was the second problem that happens when you're trying to find your purpose. Yeah. One of the third ones is when we are trying to see life through a microscopic lens. So imagine trying to see your future through this little tiny lens, like that. That's all you've got. I can't really see that well through it, but I mean, that's kind of what it is.
That really is, yeah. That's how so many of us look at our lives.
Yeah. Imagine trying to figure out your life, your blueprint, your whole plan through a people. That's it. That's all you got. And as we were talking, when we were trying to come up with all these, like trying to figure out these common misconceptions and stuff like that, hi Becca, we were talking about how as children we are born with seeing life in this wide, plain, creative rainbows, clouds, glitter, unicorns prancing across. You know what I mean? Our imaginations are wild. Everything is possible. Things are totally doable.
We conquer the world. In our childhood mind, we conquered the world. We conquered the universe for some of us. I mean, you had a rocket ship that just took you to the moon and back.
Yep.
And then somewhere along the lines,
our wide view gets kind of, every single time someone tells us, no, it's not possible, no, it can't happen, no, until we get this little tiny people. That's it. That's all we got. And that is what happens when we go through that confusion and that frustration as we're trying to find our purpose, right? We're trying to literally break through. We want to see more of that, and we can't see more, so we get really, really frustrated, right? And it usually happens when someone's like, oh, well, artists can't make enough money, pick something else. Nurses are always in demand, and it has great health insurance. You should probably go with that job. Or you can only become an events manager if you go to college. You see how that goes?
It makes your dreams smaller and smaller and smaller. I love this. This just came to me. I'm gonna go with it because I think it's something that's applicable. You see this ring here? This happens to be my wedding band. Okay, and this wedding band is specifically made out of tungsten. All right. Now, so when it comes to this right here, if I wanted to make this bigger, if I took this to a jeweler's and they wanted to make this, and I asked them to make this bigger for me because I wanted it to fit around my head, for whatever reason. Okay, let's say that's the case. What do they have to do this in order to make it happen? They can't just go and just pry this sucker open. What they need to do is heat it up. So let's imagine this is what we see our world through. And when you start going through life, you're over here, you're trying to view this thing through here. And eventually, at some point in your life, you recognize this is not working for me. I'm exhausted of just looking at life through this tiny, tiny little peephole. I need more. So you take it to the jeweler. You have them broaden this thing out. You have them stretch this thing out. But first, how do they do that? They have to heat it up. That's when your life gets difficult. That's when things start getting troubling. That's when you start getting frustrated because things have to be heated up before they can be expanded. Heat expands. Heat makes you uncomfortable. And then some of us, we can't stand the heat, so we retract. We're like, no, I'll take it back. Don't worry. I'm good with just this one. I'll make this work. I'll fit my head in here. I swear I will. Yeah. And then you're miserable because you still can't have the view that you want, but you want more. And so you're eventually butting heads with that paradigm over and over and over again. And you're constantly just like, oh, why can't I get it? Because you're not going back to the jeweler, heating this sucker up and expanding it. You have to be uncomfortable for a short period of time. A small season of your life, you have to be uncomfortable in order to have the life, the passion, the purpose that you are here for.
Yes, exactly. And in that case, you really want to try to start thinking like a designer, and you want to really open your mind up to possibilities. It's not just one path. There are many paths. There are different paths. Okay? You want to experiment. You want to try to figure out where your purpose lies. We have a question on here. Do we have to enjoy our purpose?
Do you have to enjoy your purpose? I mean, you don't have to do anything. I mean, it's really what it boils down. You don't have to do anything, literally. You don't have to pay your taxes. You can go to a tax-free zone. You don't have to breathe. You can just put a bag over your head and end it, really. You don't have to do anything. But to answer your question, do you have to enjoy? I think what you're really trying to ask is, should you enjoy your purpose? You should. You absolutely should enjoy your purpose because it's your purpose. It's the most fulfilling thing for you to be doing in your given time. If that means, so maybe I know you. So let's say your purpose, let's say, this is a very small purpose, but let's say your sole purpose on earth was to spend time with your grandson, Christian, my son. Let's say that was your purpose. Would you enjoy that? And I already know the answer is, duh. Absolutely. In fact, why'd you take them from me for this week? I love you. It wasn't intentional. We didn't want to just steal it from you. Things just happen. But, okay, yes, you should absolutely enjoy your purpose because it's what God put you here for. It's the thing that you do in any given point of your day, any time of your week in which you feel the most fulfilled. Duh. Yeah, see? Okay, my point is proven. All right? Of course, you would feel fulfilled. So yes, you would absolutely enjoy your purpose.
Yeah. Your purpose, it literally will encompass everything. It will be using and utilizing your talents and skills that you've been given. And it will be really fulfilling to be in that role, your purpose. You will always want to do as much as humanly possible to fulfill that purpose. Yes, we are human, so there will be days, even when we love something, that we might get a little tired. We might not have... We might have those days when we wake up like, it would be really nice if you could just stay in bed today. You know what I mean? Those are going to happen. That's not it's not going to signify that it's not for you, no. But for the most part, you will enjoy it. You will love it. You will want to do whatever you can to be in that role.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great question. Thank you.
Yeah. And then on top of everything that we've been talking about, one of the other things too when it comes to finding your purpose that a lot of people struggle with, I even struggled with it to be honest, was when you are focused too much on finding your purpose rather than focusing on the small daily decisions that will align you with your purpose.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I know that you wanted to elaborate on
yes.
that.
May I? Okay. Okay. So, this isn't the first time that I've heard of this conversation. Not the first time I've engaged in this conversation. Because a lot of us, like we were talking about earlier at the beginning of this session, a lot of us are wondering why am I here? What is my purpose? Am I really just meant to be here to wake up, go to a job that I hate, pay bills, be broke, and be miserable? No. No, you are not. That's not your sole existence. That's not why you're here. All right. So I love this conversation. I really do, because it really boils down to this very simple fact: we have become in our search for a purpose. We have become hyper focused on finding our purpose, and there's a problem in that. because we have become so hyper-focused on it, we have started over-analyzing it. And we've started overthinking it. We've started getting frustrated with finding our purpose. You're not supposed to be frustrated finding your purpose. What you're supposed to be is enjoying the process of finding your purpose. All right? So like to what you were saying, it really boils down to the small decisions. Okay, I understand that we've been told our entire life, hey, worry about the big thing. Worry about the big things. I understand that. I was told that my entire life too. Worry about the big things. But here's the thing. That's wrong information. You don't worry about the big things. You worry about the small things, the small daily tasks in your daily given life. Small ones. Because what do small things make up? Big things. All right? Think of it in an atomic level. In my one piece of my middle finger, you have billions upon billions of atoms that make up my finger. Small things that take care of the big thing. You have to focus on the small things, the small decisions in your life that are going to align you with the purpose that you are pursuing. Now, ultimately, you still don't know what your purpose is, right? That's why we're here, right? You're trying to figure out, how is it that I can figure out my purpose? How? Please, tell me. Well, we have to start aligning you in a very specific way based on the personality that you have, based on your interests, based on all these factors in order to push you in the right direction on how to figure that out. But very broad strokes here. You only have to worry about the small daily tasks. What are you doing in the first parts of your morning? If the first thing that you're doing is grabbing your phone and checking out social media for no other reason but to see, hey, what's going on? Does somebody mess with me? Does somebody like my stuff? Okay. If that's the only reason why you're going on there, I'm sorry, you're doing the wrong thing first.
It's important that you have your mindset set up your mind. Really. In order for you to find your purpose, you need to prep yourself, and that includes in every single thing that you are doing on a daily basis. The first thing you should do when you wake up should not be checking your Instagram, because let's face it, Instagram is a highlight reel, and when we wake up to the highlight reel, we are probably going to wake up with feeling on the wrong side of the bed, with feeling incompetent, with feeling worthy, with all these negative aspects and feelings and emotions, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important to set aside your phone. And I know all you Apple iPhone users, because I have an iPhone, I just got one. I know that there's screen time things available on your phone, so you can actually implement them, so you have no excuse.
Dined out. You took away that excuse, guys. Okay. I'm sorry.
So take advantage of that wherever you are.
Now, that being said, Android users, you don't have anything like that, so you have to download an app. So,
but they're not.
But it boils down to a conscious choice, right? That's really what we're trying to say. If what are you doing in the first parts of your day? Then, what are you doing in the next part of your day? What's your morning routine look like? What does your afternoon at work look like? What's your work ethic look like? All right? What does your time after work look like? What does your family time look like? What are you spending your time on? All these things. We have to worry about the small things in our given life, day to day, second by second. How we speak, how we think, the things that we do. These are all things that we can tweak, small pieces at a time. Because again, it's not always just, I changed my entire life. Exactly. Rip it out.
Exactly, and I think that's another thing, because a lot of people, especially if you think about it in terms of diets, people will say, on Monday, right? Like, I'm going to go ahead and start my diet all over again, you know what I mean? But no, it's not about going cold turkey. It's about changing one small thing, because the best thing about changing your habits is that it doesn't have to be all at once. It's not unplugging the cord, right? It's literally tweaking. It's like a domino effect. That's why my company is called the butterfly effect, because it's literally small changes that really make it the big things.
Yes.
Small little habit that you've replaced or tweaked, everything else will follow like a domino effect.
It has to, because that's the law of cause and effect. You change something else is going to get changed. You will literally not be able to help yourself from changing. Because as soon as you start focusing on this new thing that you are trying to tweak, let's say it's just one thing in the morning, you change just one thing, something else is going to change because of that one change. Mm-hmm. And slowly, you're going to see a massive domino effect. And all of a sudden, one day, you're going to look up, wake up, see yourself in the mirror and be like, whoa, I did it.
And the best part with that is that when you start doing that, that's how you start prepping yourself for finding your purpose. Because in that alignment is when you will open yourself up to your purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's really crucial and critical to be making sure that you're making those implementations on the daily. This is not something you do one time and done thing. This is not something that you do for 2 weeks and that's it. No, it's a daily commitment.
Yeah, okay? Absolutely. Yep. And that's really where our consistency comes in. Mm-hmm. We have to be consistent. Absolutely. Consistency is the key. It really is. To everything in our life, if you want, especially with what we're talking about, with finding our purpose, I'm not saying consistently think on and try to figure out your purpose. No. Consistently do the small things that have to get done day to day, second by second, week to week, year to year.
It's literally, and I want to say that there is a verse in the Bible, too, that we also use to kind of remember in the sense that, I forgot what the verse is, but basically it's the one where God tells us, like, in order for us to receive water, they had to, like, dig out, like, the...
Oh, so, yes, there's a great part in the Bible where it's talking about Moses and the Hebrews in the desert. And the Hebrews, they come to him, and they're like, Moses, God's forsaken us. There is no water. We need water. We're thirsty. This is my paraphrase, okay? Please, we need water. And Moses tells them, all right, go. Pray to your God for water. And so they go, they pray, they wait a certain amount of time, and nothing happens. They come back to Moses like, God has forsaken us. There is no rain. There is no water. And what does Moses say? Moses turns around and he says, well, where are the troughs? Where are the ditches?
They're like,
oh. Then they're like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, where is the area in which you were going to be collecting the water that he was supposed to be delivering for you? You weren't expecting rain, because if you were expecting rain, you would have prepared for it.
And that's the same thing with our mindset. You got to prepare for it. That's one of the most crucial aspects.
Yeah.
For anything.
I want to address this real fast, because I see Becca said something over here. Time after work, she's stuck in traffic. And Medea says she hates traffic. I bet you every single person can relate to that statement. I hate traffic. Every time after work, what is it? I'm stuck in traffic. Here's one cool thing. The best part about traffic, I love traffic. Now, here's the only time that I love it, when I'm not in a rush to go somewhere else. Now, if I'm just like heading home, I know I'm heading home. I'm good to go. Okay, I'm not going to be in a rush for that. That being said, you know what I do that's different from most people when they're stuck in the traffic? I don't listen to music necessarily. Sometimes I do. But majority of the time, what I do, I connect my Audible on my phone to my Bluetooth system on my car, and I'm listening to a new book. I'm developing my mindset.
You have it.
All right? Again, it's small things. You don't have to just be sitting in the car listening to the radio. You don't have to. You could be absolutely spending that time learning something else. Because, like, again, French. You'll never... French. Sure, you want to learn a new language? Boom. Learn some French. Learn some Italian. Learn some Spanish. Whatever you got going on.
Rain, go away. There's always time.
Yes.
You can either be sitting in traffic and hating traffic, or you can be trying to find that time and be useful with that time, right?
Exactly. So what else do we got?
Okay. So the next one, very simple, very straightforward, but something that needs to be addressed too, because I struggled with it, is believing that you only have one purpose.
Oh.
You can absolutely have multi-passionate purposes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You can be multi-passionate.
Yeah.
You can have different purposes. It's not just one all-encompassing. I am so tongue-twisted. Whatever.
You're thirsty. Drink some water.
There are...
You're dehydrated.
You can have more than one purpose. You can have more than one passion. And that was something I was struggling with, because I was... The times that I was, like, crying, breaking down, trying to figure out, I was like, I don't know what I'm here for. It is because I was thinking that it had to be one thing. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm a baker. I went through that. Yes,
Yeah,
I did.
You went through a lot.
And you can't have more than one thing. So if that's something that you identify with and you resonate, where you think that it has to be one thing, rest easy. It can be more than one thing.
Yeah, like one more. And I like how you said this. You could be multi-passionate, and I think that's really important because I'm going to differ with one aspect. I think that you can only have one purpose, but you can absolutely be multi-passionate. I think that it is God's desire for us to love multiple things, as far as like things in order to be interacting with and doing. I do believe that, but I do believe from a Christian standpoint that we do have one purpose. I do believe that. So, I mean, you don't have to agree with me. It's okay. I still love you. Yeah. But I do believe that it's one purpose, and our purpose is to serve and honor God in everything that we do.
Yeah.
And no, but not banker, baker. Baker. Baker.
I was going to have like a little sous chef like hat. I think I even tried to convince him like to like buy me like a whole like supply set at one point, but no.
It's all right. It didn't
happen. One important thing, though, if you're multi-passionate, make sure that you see things through. Because if you do not, you can start off, let's say that you love interior design and you also love coaching, okay? Then, cool, awesome. You can start off with the interior design, learning it, getting certified, whatever it is that you need to do for it. But don't leave that unfinished. Because if you leave that unfinished before you move on to your coaching, for example, then that's never going to progress and you're never going to see the growth that you want for it, and then you'll give up on that. Does that make sense?
You'll feel unfulfilled.
Exactly. And then it's just that vicious cycle all over again. So just make sure that you are taking the necessary steps to fulfill and see it to completion.
Yeah.
Okay. On our sixth one is the false belief that purpose is one-dimensional.
Yeah.
That was something you wanted to elaborate on.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think this could bring in what you were talking about with us having multiple purposes. And so, again, I believe from a Christian standpoint, I believe that we do have one purpose. Now, that being said, your purpose is not one-dimensional. It's not. It does not just affect you. Okay? There's no such thing as anything ever just affecting you as the one person. Everything affects, we could say everybody. All right. So your purpose is not one-dimensional. In fact, it is infinitely dimensional. It has an infinite number of dimensions. Okay. Let's bring this up here. There we go. Okay. So there's an infinite number of dimensions for your purpose, because what that means is it affects multiple, infinite potentially amounts of people. Mm-hmm. Let's say my purpose. What's a pretty crazy one?
You were going to be president of the United States.
My purpose is to become president of the United States. That's going to change a lot of people's lives. I mean, that's just really what it boils down to. You already know from that example alone. That's definitely multidimensional. But let's say I wanted to be a baker. Like what you were talking about earlier. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be a baker. Or let's stick with you. You were going to be a baker. So, let's say my love becomes a baker. It's not only affecting her.
It's still going to happen.
Hey, that's right. All right. So, she's going to be a baker. I'm going to be the president of the United States. But okay, anyways. So, baker. All right. It's not going to just affect her. Okay. It will affect her. It will also affect me because I have to taste what she's making. It's gonna affect our son. It's gonna affect our friends and family because they're all gonna be having to taste everything she's making. Then it's gonna affect everybody else that she sells her product to, and then everybody else that comes into her business, and then everybody else that hears about her business, everybody that sees her. It is your purpose is like the rock that you throw into the still pond. Ripples and ripples and ripples from out of the epicenter where that pebble lands. All right, your purpose are that pebble. You create a ripple in the entire existence, the fabric of existence. It's impossible for us to not affect the shoreline every time we throw another pebble into the water. It's impossible. So yes, to the idea that your purpose is one-dimensional and that it only affects you and your life and your immediate family is thinking too small. You are greater than that.
Yeah. That was profound. So our last common problem and misconception when it comes to finding your purpose. This is something, it's a little more it goes more in depth and, anyway, I tend to get ahead of myself sometimes. But a lot of us tend to believe that our purpose in life, our main purpose, is to find love. Is to find a partner, enter a marriage, and we are told time and time again, and that is the greatest thing we can ever achieve as human beings.
Yeah.
And we find that in our culture's perpetuation with finding the one, or trying to, or whenever they ask you questions as to why you're still single, why aren't you in a relationship, what's wrong with you, right? And one, that's not true. Your sole purpose on this earth is not to find the love of your life. It's more than that. I know.
Yeah, I mean, for us to say that our sole purpose, and not our sole purpose, not everybody believes that your sole purpose is to just fall in love, but that's definitely one of those really big things, right? We place a lot of emphasis on this in our society. We really do. Because yes, relationships and coming into a relationship and finding the one is something that is absolutely beautiful. It really is. And we're not saying that it's not. But so many of us have gotten obsessed with finding the one that you're never ever developing yourself. That you would rather risk or sacrifice all this time trying to quote unquote find the one on Tumblr, Twitter, what are those other ones?
Bumble,
Oklahoma singles, whatever it is. I don't know. But, okay, we've become obsessed with it. It occupies, not every minute, but a lot of our time. You gotta stop. Now, I'm not saying stop dating. No, I think it is important that you date. But you need to stop chasing. You need to stop becoming obsessed. Because when you become obsessed over this tiny thing of love, not tiny thing, when you become obsessed on this very specific aspect of your love and finding the one, you put yourself into a sticky situation because you might end up putting yourself into a relationship with somebody that you weren't supposed to be with in the first place, but that you settled because you thought, oh, I found this person found me, we must like each other, then we must be in a relationship.
It will work. I know it will work.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I did not realize who I was getting into this relationship with.
Yeah.
So, but that's all we're going to say about this part because this is something we absolutely want to touch on next week.
Yes. On
this very specific part of relationships and this very specific part on how much attention we place on the pressure that we experience in them.
In them, yes, exactly. So if you are single or if you know someone who is single and you have been just bombarded with questions, especially around the holidays, with why are you still single, when are you going to get married, why, what, when, how, whatever, then you're going to want to tune in for this next video next week because this was our second requested video, and we know that there's so much pressure on everyone around this time of the year, so we want to make sure that we address that.
Yeah.
Okay? So you're not going to want to miss that.
Definitely.
Right? Otherwise, those were our 7 common misconceptions and problems when it comes to finding your purpose. I hope that helped you gain a little more insight and gave you the inspiration, motivation, and the strategies that you need to implement tonight.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, the most important, I think really the only strategy we provided in this specific video was making small changes. That's really what we only gave you one, and we only gave you one for a very specific reason because we know that in these sessions like this, it could be very inundating with information. All right, so we gave you one so that you can work on this one thing. From here until next week, we can check in with you again. If you want accountability, if you're looking for somebody to be able to bounce these things off of, that's what we're here for. We are life coaches. We are here for this sole purpose, to be able to help people out. Yes. All right? So we want you guys, please, feel free. If you're looking for accountability, if you're looking for greater understanding of these things, reach out. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk, and let's see how we can best help you. Mm-hmm. All right? I know right now, for perfectionists, you have this ebook out. Is it still out right now?
It is still out, yes.
Okay. And what is that about again?
So the ebook that I have out is an introduction to perfectionism. It is a topic that not a lot of people really are open to talking about, strictly because it does interfere with the belief that that they're not good enough and that they need to adhere to a lot of societal beliefs and values and stuff like that. So it really just starts jumpstarts that conversation for you. So if that is something you struggle with, you're going to want to check that out. And there is going to be a Black Friday sale on it this week as well, so keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, I look forward to hearing from every single one of you guys. I know there's a lot of mindset kind of strategies and tactics and stuff like that thrown at you, and I know that it is possible for you to find your purpose wherever you may be. Just remember to give yourself the compassion, that grace, and make those small changes.
Yes.
Okay? Otherwise, we will see you guys next week talking about relationships, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and we will see you soon.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for being here, brother. Mama, good seeing you again. We'll talk to you soon. And hey, everybody else out there, we love you all, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Instagram Live, we love you. Thank you for being here for you. Thank you for participating in your own rescue. We love you guys all. Take care.
Bye.